Hey everyone, my name's Madison. Thanks for checking out my channel. Today I am going to do a quick comparison of the Farseer Trilogy by Robin Hobb and Ship of Magic, which is the first in the Liveship Trilogy, also by Robin Hobb. Both of these books take place in the realm of the Elderlings and are part of Robin Hobb's larger world, and I really enjoyed both of them and want to compare them. The first thing I want to compare are the tone and content of these books. I read the Farseer Trilogy first, and this is a high fantasy, soft magic system. And you start off with a little boy. Fitz is a boy at the beginning of the story, and you watch him as he grows, and it's primarily about him, one character. It's kind of meandering, and it feels like a coming-of-age story. It feels young, and it's not very gritty. On the other hand, Ship of Magic, you're jumping in with adults, or people who think they're adults, so whatever. And it's about pirates, and it's about sailors, and Robin Hobb really jumps in to the grittiness of what those lifestyles would be, particularly when it comes to like sex and prostitutes. And so that was a big change for me. I was surprised at some of the scenes that I found in this book that didn't exist in this book, even though, I mean, you're talking about soldiers, so that's kind of a gritty lifestyle too, right? But it was just very different content-wise. This one's definitely a little bit more adult and a little bit grittier. So that was the first difference that I noticed right off the bat. The next difference I want to talk about is the magic system. In the Farseer Trilogy, it's a soft magic system, and the magic is very secretive. You have the wit and the skill, and both of those are very limited in scope, meaning not everybody in the world has them. Only the royalty of the six duchies have the skill, and they like it that way, and they keep it that way. It's meant to be secretive. It's meant to be precious to them, and they want to keep it in the family, so to speak. The wit, on the other hand, is secretive because people associate it with kind of like bestiality, and they think it's evil. So the people who have the wit have been forced underground for one reason or another. Both of these kinds of magic, the wit and the skill, are internal, and they're in conflict with each other. They're all in your mind, okay, which is very different from the magic in the Liveship Trilogy. The magic in this book is in your face all the time. It is part of what makes Bingtown so special. It is intriguing and mystical and beautiful and full of creativity and life, but it's definitely all around you. You can go to Bingtown, walk down the streets, and see tons of magical objects that are created from the people who live in the Rain Wilds. Now, there's definitely still that sense of mystery and specialness to the magic. Not everybody can trade in these magical goods. Only Bingtown trader families can, for lots of interesting reasons. So that does make the magic special and secretive, but it's still all over the world and well known throughout the Bingtowns, throughout the larger world that Robin Hobb has created. The magic in the Liveship Trilogy is also very external. It is a creative magic. It has to do with life, and the cost of the magic is very different than the cost of the magic in the Farseer Trilogy. In the Liveship Trilogy, you get this sense that using this magic will cost you life in one way or another, and we don't fully understand that, not in the first book, but it's one of the things that keeps you reading, like what is actually going on here? What does it mean to trade in these magical goods? And so I really, really loved this magic system, even though it was a little more in your face. It creates so much beauty and life, essentially, and you're left to wonder, is it really life? Is the Liveship Vivacia really? Is she like a human being? To what extent is she like a human being? Does she have a soul? Who is she? Where does she come from? Who was she before she was a ship? And so all of these questions have to do with that magic system and make you want to keep reading. The next thing I want to talk about that makes these two series different is the plot. The plots of the Farseer Trilogy are slow and meandering and full of intrigue because the main character, Fitz, is essentially a spy and an assassin. That made it interesting, but also there were points where I was a little bored, especially in the second book. There were long stretches where you're just with this one character who you don't necessarily understand his decision making, and you just want to get back into the action. That is not the case in Ship of Magic. You are following several different storylines, but all of those, well, 3 of the 4 of those storylines are very active. You're constantly seeing changes. There's a lot of travel, but it's interesting travel, and the conflict between the characters is a little bit more obvious and intriguing. So they're different. I did like the plot in Ship of Magic better than the plot in the Farseer Trilogy, but the Farseer Trilogy is still worth your read in my opinion. I think the Farseer Trilogy is still worth your read because of the final difference I want to talk about, which would be the characters. The characters in this book are stellar. Not Fitz. Fitz is annoying. But Burke, Shade, and the Fool are fantastic. They are some of my favorite characters in literature and definitely in fantasy. They are complex and deep. They all love Fitz and are fighting for him in their own way and for their own reasons. And I love the way that they work together, and their own distinct personalities in the book are fantastic. I also love each of their individual relationships with Fitz and how they develop over the course of the series. Those characters are just wonderful and really make this book worth the read for me. When I thought the plot was meandering and boring, it was okay because I knew eventually I would get to Burke, Shade, or the Fool, and it would make it worth it. And so that's one of the big reasons that I'm definitely going to read the next trilogy as well. The characters in this were not as strong, but in a sense they were intriguing in their own way because you have the live ships. Paragon and Vivacia are fantastic, complex characters that aren't even human, and it makes it so interesting. I really enjoyed those two in particular, even if I didn't like the human characters as much. So, overall, which one do I like better? It's difficult to say, and that's why I did this comparison video. I like the characters in this book so much better. They're wonderful. But I like the plot and the magic system in this book. That it makes it so intriguing and interesting and definitely makes me want to keep reading the rest of the trilogy. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Have you read either of these series? Which one are your favorites? Which one are your favorite books and characters in these series? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks guys. Bye.